hand on what their costs. They are like Nigeria. They say we don't have a national foreign policy. But really, I can't seem to place my hand on any more on what they're. I think like him, I'm confused.
Okay, Mr. Chukwumaha, do you think this is where we need to bring in the international intelligence, international bodies?
We don't need all that. No. The problem is localized. We know the solutions. I have said it. That's why I am, of my own standpoint of view, please, if you're listening to me out there, I'm not being sentimental. I'm looking at from the standpoint of your security. If a few lives must be lost to save the lives of others in this country and to still retain the sovereignty in Nigeria, so should it be. If the lives there have not stood up to fight for it, we all have a right to life, and that's why he's here. We have a right to life, we have a right to protection, and the government has a responsibility of protecting the lives of all its citizenry. Now, if the government is not doing that, we as a people can do that. And of course, the best way to go about it is by, if we notice anything lurking around that place, pass this information to the nearest security agency. Leave it to them. Have some documented evidence you've done this, so you would have cleared your heart, you would have done your bit as a citizen, that you're totally responsible, and watch and see what the government does with that information.
All right, see your virtual fun house on your radio. We have two guests in the house. We have Mr. Chukwumaha. He's a security broadcaster and a security consultant. He's also a producer and a presenter. Okay, he produces and presents Watchdog and Security 247. All right, we have a call here. Hello. Hello, Top Radio. Hello. All right, person doesn't know we picked. And also, on the other hand, we have Mr. Wafai J. Roberts. He is an IP/IT international lawyer. We've been talking about the crossfire between the JTF and the Boko Haram terrorists at the peaceful town of Baga in Borno State. And of course, we're looking at things that have and that will surround these decisions as time goes on. All right, numbers are open 0809-670-2550. That's 0809-670-2550. Okay, there's a question here. It says, sir, please explain ambush or attack in a patrol team. I don't know why this person was there, but I believe that's for you, Mr. Maha. And another one says, Damirez, please, I agree with Mr. Roberts, who has respect for human lives. I am also bothered about loss of lives if the essence of sending them is to protect the citizenry. The task force should be advised to use blanks instead of live bullets.
What is referred to? Rubber bullets.
Yeah, rubber bullets to maim and arrest instead of all these killings. All right, and this is from Yemi. Hello, Top Radio. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Damirez.
Yeah, what's your name, please?
It's Bridget.
Okay, so, all right, welcome to the show. Go ahead, then.
I'm not listening to you guys. I just like to hear.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, looking at Twitter, all right, if you want to tweet, you can tweet to Top Radio 909 and also to Damirez 909 FM. All right, this is at Graham 01. He says it's really hard to keep peace when the battle is not defined. There is, however, no. All right, the message continues. I'll get back to that. All right, so phone lines open 0809-670-2550. Okay, so Mr. Wafai, what's the way forward, please?
The way forward? Way forward is, I believe, should be a question for the security expert. But then, in order to avoid future occurrence, because I think it's been a recurrent situation in this country where we have our security forces not respecting the rights of citizenry in missions or the curtailing of certain violent acts. It happened in OD, it happened now, it happened long even before then. So my advice should be, I think we need to grow our security agencies. We need to grow them to meet up with international best practice in security and security.
Would you have international best practice?
No. There is international best practice. Now,
where did that work?
Now we have
mention what part of the world.
It's one thing to equip your military. It's another thing to imbue them with the intellectual and emotional capacity to do the job.
Even the so-called giant America is still having a problem grasping with that particular aspect of best practice. Because when you talk of best, we're going to benchmark it against what? Against who? Which country? Which army?
It doesn't necessarily. I mean, we all have. I think every reasonable man should know.
At this point in time, when we talk of terrorism, you can no longer be reasonable.
I don't agree with that.
Now,
I think even if it's terrorism, I believe very, very much.
Sorry, please just keep your points warm. If we cannot be, if we're going to throw away
rationality
and reasonability about it, we probably will not have any state left to govern or to live in.
Now, somebody asked the issue now, like you rightly put it, it's the international best practice in military. Now, before the military is drafted into any place of abode, they should have used other forms of security agencies. The police would have gone in down there, the SSS would have moved in down there, NRA would have been there, and all that. Now, if they fail and they cannot come, whatever insurgency that is trying to brew up there, the military are usually the last resort. The military are not trained to deal with the thank you, sir, you're welcome, ma, and things like that on a civil dimension. No.
So I believe the SSS was used in Baga?
Hold on. They were definitely there initially. The SSS are everywhere. Right, they have locations everywhere. They would have gotten information, spawned it, probably screened that information to know which is which, pass information on now to a particular quarters. If that quarters actually use that information, is a different thing entirely. The police are there. We knew the police still had their own killings there, the mobile policemen there, all in Borno State. They also say reprisal there. But the question is, by the time you draft in the military there, they are thinking their psyche is totally different.
I believe the action of the multitask force was not as a result of certain intelligence report they received from wherever, but it was because now this crisis actually happened because we had the security task force involved in surveillance work around those areas, and they were attacked.
Which is continuous.
And they were attacked, and they went back there and attacked.
So
I don't think there was any intelligence.
We have a call. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Who are we speaking with, please?
My name is Paul.
All right. Okay, please go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, concerning the security in the country, I have to blame the police for that. Naturally, they were trying to handle things that has to do with security within the country, not a treatment for the army. And when the soldiers are coming on board, it's fast becoming a war. I would not expect a war to be done in the army. Naturally, if we have to fight the Boko Haram, it must be done within the police, but we have removed the credibility on them. And there are certain things that we show for security purposes. The only places where we can find them is on the street, and that's not their job. So I think we should look at a way of going back to the problems that is emanating from the police, train them actually to become a world-class policing. That is known in the world. I let them do the job. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Wafai, please keep your points warm. Mr. Maha, what do you have to say to
that? Yeah, I agree with him. That's why that's the point I was trying to raise. Where the other internal security agencies fail, we have no other resort but to move into the army. And he said it now. He's saying something on the army are actually drafted, but he got it slightly wrong. It's not for international war. We use the army also for the local war, in-house.
But like the popular, they leave sorrow, tears, and blood by Fela. Should we not be?
Now, even with the police, now you have a militarized wing of the police known as the mobile police force, which are like the military but in police uniform. They are specially trained for that. I'm fully aware of the drafting of the mobile police force to the hotspot zones there in the north, where we have traces of pockets of Boko Haram. Now, the truth is, like he said, which I tend to agree again with him, is the level of training of these policemen. One, like I want to agree with him now, level of training, international best practices now. But again now, when they are being trained and they're given a post order, do this, do that. Unfortunately, they are not being told when to use that kind of force. Now the question is that you have a right to protect your life if you're threatened, if you're carrying firearms. If I know you're going to shoot,
that's also in the rules of engagement.
Yes, it's also in the rules of engagement for the policeman. You're told when you can use your firearms. Now, will you tell me because I was not given my post-order duties rules of engagement, I should not defend my life, I'm carrying firearms, my life is being threatened? Of course I'll use it.
Okay, but how has Britain, okay fine, I know that
does protecting your life make you shoot blindly?
Now, no sir, please, how has Britain been able to survive this long There are policemen going about with batons.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of serious riots and
you see, you're mentioning a country that doesn't have an influx of arms. In Nigeria, we don't have even the slightest idea of the quantum of arms in this country that are not military issued. I can tell you, but I cannot quote categorically. What I can tell from what I feel and feel is we have more arms in the hands of civilians than we have in the military. When I talk of military, I'm talking of all formations of the military.
Maybe your reference also have been with the United States, not Britain.
You get it?
Okay.
Now, you see, in Britain, you can curtail most activities because they have certain points or border points you can enter into Britain. But here in Nigeria, you can enter from any part of the country and nobody's checking. Nobody's bothered.
Why is it like that?
Well, it's a thing which comes back again back to our culture. The I don't care syndrome is very, very much around with us. Even as we speak here, anybody can walk in here into a studio. Why? Because nobody seems to be bothered.
No, we've actually taken care of that.
Okay, so let's hope so. Now, the point I'm just trying to say is that we need to have a total reorientation as a people, as a nation. One. Two, we must come up with certain things. I think it's high time for our National Assembly and our state assemblies to become more serious, thinking of national security than any other topic of discussion, probably for the next 3 months. Not what I can chop and keep for myself. They should begin to think of what we can do for the country Nigeria and not for their personal pockets. And with this vein, I think we'll then be coming closer, some steps closer into solving the insecurity issues in this country. One, the votes. Where are we putting the money to for votes? When the budget comes up, where does this money go to? We should now begin to think more inward in the protection of lives of persons, ensuring that the people are adequately engaged. And if you're engaged, you don't have the time for all these kind of nefarious activities. Now, the truth of the matter, there are certain quarters of the country or aspects of the country that should be de-emphasized. Because, like I said, and he agrees with me, Boko Haram is, to me, as far as I'm concerned, a political thing. If you make the politics of the day less lucrative, make it that if you're coming to play politics in this country, you're doing it with your own free accord. You're not going to be paid a penny. You're only going to be given sitting allowances. Whether you're coming as a governor, the president, a senator, an assemblyman, no salary, no nothing. When you're coming, nothing. You're not even doing an official card. You're coming as service to the nation. When it is less lucrative, then people will begin to take the focus off the polity now and now begin to look inwards. There's more money that will be diverted to education, to health, and to other aspects of the country. And it's not a question of resource control. Any part of the country that's within the country should adequately be not be left behind but brought to the fold. In other words, you could be a deprived state. You have no natural resources. We pump money there to bring you up to the standard which the center and other states are.
Okay, looking at Nigeria, do we have deprived states?
Yes, we do. We
Oh, okay.
most of the states. You need to take a tour. You don't even have to go by air. Go by road. See certain local governments, certain states, they have no amenities, nothing, absolutely nothing.
So some states are more favored. Talking about.
Oh yes, some states are more favored based on resource control, based on the position they took ever since the time of independence. Now, are we going to start granting amnesty? If we're going to start amnesty, we should know a starting point. As okay, from today, 27th April 2013, we're going to take a clean slate. Now, these are the problems. What are the problems? No education. We're going to get in schools. Education is going to be affordable. I hear one university now has now made education strictly for the very rich. I'm not going to mention which university that is. Very rich. So how do you expect children of you and I to go to such schools? They're going to become badgers. Now we have to make sure education is affordable for everybody to go. And we're going to make sure if you come out from school, there's a job waiting for you, irrespective of how lucrative that job is. Make these things, make compulsory retirement age. You get to the age of 50 or 60, you must be retired. You go. So there's more room for others who are coming up. So with this in place, make careers there. And when you come from school, like they do in most countries, you serve the nation. Either in the military, it's compulsory. That should be our youth service. No longer you just go and waste some time out there. Compulsory service, 3 years or 2 years. You go down, you're in the military, whether it's the police, air force, navy, SSS, you come out. By the time you come out, you're thinking Nigeria, you're not thinking as an individual. When people know that everybody has been trained, then we know we have a reserve army that can come up and spring into action any day, anytime. And I think so-called insurgents or terrorists would think twice before they can come into a country like ours again going forward.
Okay, Mr. Wafai.
Summarily, I think all he has said, I agree. I'll simply just summarize to what.
Okay.
We need to curb corruption. We need to build a welfarean state. the day our government begins to think less of themselves
as an individual or as individuals,
and more for the people who had voted them there. It is in the Constitution. The first opening statements of our Constitution simply said that we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having decided or resolved to live together as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign entity, dedicated to building one welfare for our people. That's my focus.
Irrespective of where you're from.
Irrespective of where you are from. The day people in government begin to think less of themselves and more of the people who had voted them therein, we would have less of the problems we are having now. Less of the problems we are having now. Until we stop impoverishing people, until money stops being stolen, I think the problem would continue. So it's really a matter of the government. Whether it's Niger Delta, whether it's the terrorists, the government needs to take care of itself first. There needs to be an overhaul.
Total cleansing.
Total cleansing, total orientation, whether it's the military, and then build them. And then secondly, on the issue of security, until we get to El Dorado,
the promised land.
Until we get there, what can we do in the interim? Every Nigerian needs to be more security conscious. Every Nigerian needs to understand that they do not, whilst they have a right to the protection of their lives, they also owe this nation and the security agencies the duty to report crimes. They owe it to themselves and to the country to be very, very conscious of the things that are happening around them. The terrorists in the United States, the Boston bombing, probably may not have been caught if a very, very sound citizen had not been very conscious of the things happening around him to know that somebody was hiding inside a boat behind his house.
With the blood stains.
With blood stains. So if you had simply seen those blood stains or probably heard those creaky sounds and put it up as something.
If that individual was a Nigerian,
he would have just walked away. He would have just walked away. So I think until we get to that point where Nigerians become very conscious, you see something happening around you, it's unusual, you get suspicious, you check.
Pass information.
And then you pass that information and try to report. That way, I guess, would have a bit less of a problem. And that takes
me back to where I started from, like you say, in legal terms, ab initio. The community over there, where it happened in Borno State, well, I sympathize with you. I want to commiserate with the families that lost persons. However, from the security perspective, they failed to have done what we're suggesting now.
Not all of them, I guess.
Well,
children were killed. Those children were still too young to perceive the things happening around them.
Their parents were there.
But they shouldn't pay for the crimes or the mistakes of their parents.
It's unfortunate, but I pray God Almighty will have repose on their soul.
And while God is having repose on their parents' soul, I believe the government should compensate them in substantial terms
now
too.
We come back again to financial terms.
Oh yes.
Which brings problems again.
No. These people have actually suffered. The law, anywhere in the world, if I suffer certain injuries as a result of the action of somebody, I should be entitled to be recompensed for that.
Beautiful. That means while we're here,
whether the compensation is pecuniary or
not at the club drinking, we are suffering something in our being to bring consciousness to not just to the polity, but to the people of this nation. We too ought to be compensated. I'm sure you agree.
Perhaps it's more of a compensation to know that the persons who actually did that be brought to book, whether it's in the military or whether it's the terrorists. That's really, I didn't say compensation in monetary terms. I simply said compensation. If you got me.
Okay. You got me there.
1 second, please. Hello. Hello, please. You need to speak up a bit.
Yes, this is John from Caleb University, Lagos.
All right, John. Have you been listening to the show?
I'm just the first timer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I just want to send a shout out to everybody, to all the listeners, to everybody in South Radio. Happy weekend to everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so well, this is where we come to the end of the show. Thank you so much. We've had Mr. Chuks Maha, security broadcaster and consultant. He's also the producer and presenter of Watchdog and Security 247. Maha, where's that name from?
You see, these are part of the problems of this country. I'm a Nigerian. I don't need to tell you what state I'm from. Just take it, I'm a Nigerian. I'm not going to tell you my state, neither will I tell my local government, nor my hometown. I am a Nigerian. I talk like one, I look like one, and I live like one.
All right, thank you very much. And we've also had Mr. Wafai J. Roberts, IT international lawyer. And well, we've really had fun. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Did he ask you where he was from? That name doesn't sound Nigerian.
J. Roberts. Usually I heard Roberts, I was like, no, he must be a foreigner.
I am every bit in Nigeria.
Very bit in
and
Nigeria.
unlike him, I'm a Nigerian from a certain part. Now, it's our differences that make us stronger, I believe. So whether or not I'm from where, I can easily say where I'm from with pride, but I'm really a Nigerian, because the essence is to tolerate others, tolerate our differences, and not just tolerate our differences, celebrate our differences. I think that's how we can grow. I'm from Cross River. We know we bear English names. Donald J. J. Roberts. Adam J.
He's from Cross River. Where they have a crossfires.
Well, thank you very much. It's your virtual fun house on radio, and to watch this on Google Plus, you could just search G Plus. That's GPLUS.TO/Top Radio 909. All right, and see how it went down. 27th of April 2013 with Mr. Chuksmaha and Mr. Wofai J. Roberts on the shindig. All right, so stick around. I'll have to take a couple of messages and then we'll come back on the shindig, and of course we'll take more calls and messages, and of course don't forget, visit us on Facebook, Shindiggaz on Top Radio. All right, that's spelled SHINDIGGAZ on Top Radio. Forwards, space them out.
Top Radio 90.9.
That brings tears of joy. It's pure pleasure on Top Radio 90.9 FM.
Driver. Now phone you hold for hand the text to. I been a pinking you the pink. Plenty people don't waka go yonder because say then they drive they use phone at the same time. To they drive they use phone at the same time. Now deadly combination no. For Top Radio, we too like our people pass me pussy don't look. I beg, if you did drive, leave phone for one side. Life no get duplicated.
We are the station banging the most hip-hop, R&B, and local flavor. We are 90.9 FM. Top Radio.